So we're going to Belfast via Newry for our next performer. Peter and I went to the same school at different times. We established that the last time Peter Hollywood read here at Flash Fiction Armagh. Peter would like to apologise in advance to anyone who has misread the publicity for this great event and has come expecting to see Paul Hollywood from the Great British Bake Off. If it's any consolation, though, Peter did work part-time many summers in the Shelburne Bakery in Newry. And I can vouch, I really can vouch, that the Shelburne has to do the best apple tarts in the country. It's very special memories for me, the Shelburne Bakery. So I don't care if Peter Hollywood's not here, as long as the Shelburne keeps going. But back to Flash Fiction Armagh and Peter Hollywood, who is going to read tonight for us Knife Fight. Peter Hollywood.
Thank you, Raymond, and Biddy, again, thank you for being mad enough to have me back. This is actually chapter 7 of this wee novel, and it's a recollection that is brought about by an incident in the previous chapter, and the main character's name is Thomas, which explains why his name comes up. Thomas's father was in a knife fight once during the Second World War with an on-leave American GI. This one's for you, Kieran. Okay. It happened in that busy market town his father and later he grew up in, located close to the border. Thomas's father owned a public house on the main street a few doors down from the Frontier Cinema. American troops would have been stationed in campsites scattered around the countryside, and often at weekends the soldiers would flood into the town on leave. However, the knife fight took place early one weekday. His father had just opened the doors, with the Spike Davis, the sole client, requiring admission at such an early hour. He quickly ensconced himself out of the way in the snug at the main street side of the bar, and subsequently missed the whole action, oblivious to the two large men crashing into furniture, counter and walls. The snug was meant really for female clientele, where they could sup in peace and order sherry and gin through the confessional of the hatch door that opened onto the counter at that end. The Spike Davis favoured the snug at that early, normally empty hour. In those days, his father washed the empties and bottled, capped and labelled the beer himself. Arthur Guinness supplied him with customised labels for the bottles. Having let the Spike Davis in and served him his bottle of stout and measure of rum, his father had disappeared out the back to retrieve a newly bottled crate of beer from the bottling store. The way back in led past the stairway winding up to the living quarters. Glancing up, he suddenly stopped in his tracks at the sight of the uniformed American halfway up the stairs. At this point, his teenaged younger sister, just in from morning mass, must also have seen the GI, for she let out a scream from above. The soldier had obviously followed her home and in through the side door, stalking her on up the stairs. His father let the crate drop, took the stairs two at a time, yanked the soldier by the shoulder and pitched him down the stairs into the back hall, swimming now with beer. The soldier was quickly to his feet, though he had trouble steadying himself, what with slipping in the spillage and then barking his shin on the discarded wooden beer crate. In such stumbling fashion, he disappeared into the bar area. Thomas's father leapt down in pursuit. Turning the corner, he found himself confronted with the GI, seething, crouched over with a flick knife open in his right hand. He immediately regretted not lifting a bottle from the crate for protection. He even fleetingly thought of fashioning a fan brace from his long white vintner's apron. "His arm," Thomas's father would say. I quickly realised that I had to get a grip of his right arm and hold on for dear life. Possibly still dazed from the tumble over the crate of beer, the soldier did not anticipate his assailant's swift move. His father got a vice-like grip of the right arm, and linked like this, the two men waltzed on into the bar, cursing and struggling and strangling and whirling each other around. What saved his father was the ancient and imposing structure of the dark brown mahogany counter that ran the length of the bar. At one point, the two combatants came careening off the back wall and they collided with the counter. The tip of the blade of the flick knife struck the unyielding obsidian surface of the wood and bounced right back off it. The soldier must not have had a firm grasp of the handle, for at the shock of impact, the blade slid up his grip, slicing open the palm of his hand, incising on up over his wrist. The knife clattered to the flagstone floor, and extricating himself, the GI exited the bar, being, his father often said, like some wounded beast. As he went, spraying blood about him, the Spike Davis chose that moment to slide open the hatch and order another rum and stout. "The knife, Dad," Thomas's older brother had once asked. "What did you do with the knife?" They were both hoping that it existed as some grisly family heirloom. "I give it to Joseph Slowwaters as evidence." Their father had become friendly with a military policeman. Joseph Slowwaters was of the Navajo Nation, and although he did not take alcohol, he liked to visit the bar when on leave and stand at the counter and chat quietly to their father. Joseph Slowwaters was enraged when his father reported the incident, and taking the knife away, vowed to be on the lookout for a GI with heavily bandaged hand and wrist. Thomas's father never discovered if the culprit was caught. Almost overnight, the camps emptied and the soldiers disappeared. They found themselves on board a fleet of warships, forging their way across a porter dark sea, bound for the beaches of Normandy. A soldier with a heavily bandaged hand and wrist would quickly find familiars there. There were soldiers too in the town when Thomas was growing up. These ones, as you know, were not on leave. Thank you.